What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've got 4 picks that I put down. I'm going to take you through all those today. If that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into the picks, we do have to recap the day that was. We had a stellar 11-0 day the day prior, and then we all came crashing back down to earth. Got unlucky with a couple value plays. Now, a lot of people ask me what my record is, my win-loss, and I don't really pay too much attention to that because I do play a lot of risky bets, but I have a staking plan which allows me to do so, and I just want to show you a little bit of heartbreak. And a lot of the guys in VIP, we can cry about this together. This was a tricksy combo of just a whole lot of first quarter props that I ran. Yes, 2 out of the 3 games we actually lost on, but the way that we lost, I tell you, Kristaps Porzingis needed him for over 5.5 points in the first quarter. He shoots 1 from 4, misses a wide open 3. His first quarter points prop at this number is a wagon, and I'm dying that he missed that. And also Anthony Davis, we needed him to get 3 rebounds in the first quarter. He was on 2 rebounds for so long, then it didn't happen. And what makes it worse, there's 2 things that makes this worse. The first thing is that both Kristaps, he scored in the first possession of the second quarter. Anthony Davis gets a rebound in the first possession of the second quarter as well. This would have been $100 into $17,000. Even if one of them won, we would put in $100 into about $2,000. So a lot of risky stuff that we play. Got pretty close to that one, and I'll be running that one, something similar to that moving forward. But I just want to share a little bit of heartbreak. But outside of that, let's talk about it. Went 4-3 on all the straight picks today. The ones I shared with you, the Balkan boys let us down. So Luka Doncic took him over 7.5 boards, get hooked on 7. And I was pretty much wrong on the read on this. I said that the Lakers will keep it close. I said that the Magic's offense is not great. The Bulls just put on a masterclass, but I doubt the Magic do that. And then the Magic score 118 points. They made it rain on the Lakers. There weren't many rebound opportunities. And unfortunately, the Lakers their defense, it just looked so much worse with Luka on there. So when Luka wasn't there, the defense looked better, but the old man was getting all the rebounds. So that was a tough one to lose. And then talk about tough, this one, Nikola Vucevic over 12.5 rebounds and assists. This was my favorite bet of the day, and it was actually the worst one. Like, I don't know what the hell he was doing out there. He didn't seem with it. DeAndre Jordan put up the stat line that I expected from Vucevic today. Unbelievable. I'll never say bad things about DeAndre Jordan again, but that one sucked. Klay Thompson, I took him over 14.5 points. I expected AD's return to open up shots on the perimeter, and it did, but Klay Thompson shot like shit today. So I'm kicking myself. I said it in the video last time. I like Spencer Dinwiddie assists because Klay Thompson has a good matchup. Marshall has a good matchup. PJ Washington has a good matchup. And then AD came back. I don't know why I ran the Klay Thompson points. It should have been Dinwiddie all along. He had like 10 plus assists or 12 assists or something. So that one sucked. Kristaps Porzingis was the last leg that we lost on, over 5.5 points. In that first quarter, cost me thousands of dollars. That I just needed one more bucket, but that's gambling for you. Hit a couple winners, though. Halliburton double-double. That was easy money. What's crazy is I watched this game thinking I had a value play on him for over his points to get 3 rebounds and to get 10 assists. And I was celebrating it for nothing because I didn't have a value play on Halliburton. But we also hit Justin Edwards over 16.5 points. This was an easy cash. I did have him for 20 points and for 2 assists in a value play. He got stuck on 19 for ages, and then he couldn't get it done. So value plays weren't that great today, but we still hit a couple. Naz Reid, we hit him for over 12.5 points. He crushed this. We also laddered this thing up. So it got him at over 17.5 points at plus 350. Then we hit a Kai Jones value play at plus 525. So this is the Kai Jones one. I originally liked this play before AD was going to play, and then all of a sudden he was ruled in. So we bet it again. We got double the odds that we did the first time, and it was pretty sweat-free there. Kai Jones was a beast. And then here's Naz Reid getting over his points prop, 15 to 237. So, look, only 2 units down. And given the strategy that I run, that's not a really bad day at all. So, looking to get back into it today. So, we're jumping into Props Madness, the best tool you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. So, I've scanned the whole slate. There's a lot of games which are stayaways for me right now. There is some game time decisions for some very important people, so I don't want to make any calls on it so early, especially after the bullshit that happened yesterday. Grimes was ruled out, AD was ruled in. I don't know about the other stuff, but having to react to the news late after thinking I had already set my bets was a painful process. So I don't want to put too many down. I do, however, have 4 down at the moment, and I'll take you through all of them for complete transparency. So What's the first one that we're looking at today? Also, Props Madness, 7-day free trial, 25% discount if you use Draft when you sign up. So go ahead and check it out. It's going to be very important throughout this playoffs. So the first one that I'm looking at a lot of the later games, believe it or not, but the first early game, actually, Mavericks versus the Knicks. And I'm running with Mikal Bridges today. Mr. Consistent. I'm taking his points plus his assists. Now, I bet this not too long ago. So the explanation I gave you guys the last time I bet him, it pretty much rings true once again. And pretty much without Jalen Brunson, he's been a beast. Let's take a look. Games without Jalen Brunson this season. He's over this line in 8 out of 9 games, averaging 26.8 points and assists. The only game where he went under was against the San Antonio Spurs, and he finished on 21 points and assists. And I believe his line for that game was 20.5. So realistically, he covered his line in every single game without Jalen Brunson when we're looking at points and assists. Now, I wouldn't run his points prop in isolation, and his hit rate's still pretty good on points props, don't get me wrong, 6 out of 9, 22 points per game. But his assist prop, even though it only hits 44% of the time, what I've found with Mikal Bridges without Jalen Brunson is in the games where he's not scoring very well, he seems to make it up by getting these great assists. So in all of these games where he didn't hit his points line, the Kings, the Spurs, and the Hornets, you can see if you look just at his assist prop, 8 assists against the Kings, 7 assists against the Spurs, 6 assists against the Hornets. So he overachieves on the assist front when the points aren't there, which is why I'm only running the points plus assists. If I had to choose between points and assists, I'd obviously lean towards the points, but I love having these two together. So pretty much, if the shot is falling, he's good enough to cover this line in points alone. So I'm not too worried about adding the assists there. Now we're talking about the matchup here. Dallas Mavericks on a back-to-back. AD's not going to be playing. The Dallas Mavericks, pretty vulnerable to spot-up shooters. 8th most points allowed to spot-up shooters on the season. And if we look at the shot chart, we can see here Dallas pretty weak in the corners, where Bridges does shoot 22% of his points, but they're also pretty vulnerable in the paint. Bottom 10 team in points allowed in the paint. So if he chooses to drive, he's going to get some good looks. Not much rim protection there for that Dallas team. Kai Jones, Powell, when he's on the court, they're going to have a hard time sticking with Cat anyway. So Mikal Bridges chooses to drive. I think he's going to have some good opportunities to get some buckets down low. So running his over in points plus assists. The next 2 plays happen to be in the same game. And out of being completely transparent with you, I'm not running 1 unit on both of these guys. I'm playing them both at 0.75 units. And the reason is simple. I'm betting on Santi Aldama over 13.5 points, and I'm betting on Luke Kennard over 10.5 points. And the reason I'm betting on them is exactly the same. So we're pretty much betting on them because Ja Morant's not in, Jaren Jackson is, and so is Desmond Bane. So I looked at all the games where those 3 players are in and to see how these guys performed. Firstly, with Santi Aldama, he's over this line in only 7 out of 14 games, averaging 14.5 points per game. But with Santi Aldama, I looked at his projections for this game, and he's projected to play over 30 minutes in this game, and so is Luke Kennard. So if we look at the games where he plays at least 28 minutes, actually that's not too big a sample size. We look at games with 25 minutes, 25 plus minutes, with Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, and Ja Morant out of the lineup. He's over this line in 6 out of 8, averaging 18.8 points per game. So great hit rate for him, especially as of late when he's seeing these minutes without those guys. And even if you look at the head-to-head numbers, 1 game against the Jazz, in 31 minutes, he scored 27 points, had a great shooting night, so I'm not expecting something that good, but surely he's good enough to cover 13.5 points. Now we jump over to Luke Kennard, and it's very much the same thing. No Ja Morant, with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane in the lineup. He's projected to play 30 minutes in this game. So if you look at games where he plays at least 28 minutes with these guys on the floor, he's over this line in 7 out of 9 games, averaging 13.4 points. If we look at the head-to-head matchups, he also had a great game against the Jazz where he scored 30 points in 31 minutes, another game with hot shooting. So I'm not expecting them both to go off the way that they have in the past, but I have a feeling one of them can go crazy. But this is also a game that's projected to hit 240 points. So there is a world where they both go over, but I know the risk that's involved playing 2 players on the same prop because of the same reasons. There's a bit of risk there. So instead of just trying to choose one of them, I'm going to play them both, stake a little bit less. There's a chance to get both of them anyway. So let's see how we go. And pretty much the matchup is this. This Utah Jazz team, awful at defending the perimeter. We can see it right here. Whole lot of green, most points allowed above the break. Both Santi and Luke Kennard score well above the break. They score well in spot up. They score in transition. This Jazz team also allows the most points in transition. So I'm liking those two guys. They got excellent matchups today. This is also like a must-win game for Memphis. Well, it's not a must-win game, but I think they really want to get the win. And the whole reason is this. They're currently 5th in the West at the moment. The Lakers are 4th. They pretty much have the same record. If the Grizzlies can finish this season strong, they can secure home court in the first round. So I think the Grizzlies are going to be pushing hard. And I think a lot of these starters, Santi, Luke Kennard, yada, 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 I think they play heavy minutes today. So I'm liking both of those guys to score some points. And then my very last play, we head over to the last game. It's the Cavaliers versus the Portland Trailblazers. And we're looking at my man Denny Avdija today. Denny Avdija. And I'm taking his over 13.5 rebounds and assists in this game. He's projected to play 38 minutes. DeAndre Ayton still out. Jeremy Grant extremely unlikely to play here. So projected to play 38 minutes. And that's a lot of minutes. And I love Denny when he's playing high minutes. So if we just look at games where he's played 35 plus minutes, he's over this line in 14 out of 17 games, averaging 16.6 rebounds and assists. If you dive a little bit further and look at the games without Grant and without Ayton playing the same number of minutes, he's over this line in every single game, averaging 19.3 rebounds and assists. Now, the same thing I said about Memphis, it's pretty much for the Blazers. Their season is on a knife's edge right now. Like, I think they're currently 11th in the standings for the West. Actually, they're 12th behind Dallas and the Phoenix Suns. Portland have been turning it up over the past couple of months. The effort's definitely there. They don't have the talent to win enough games, but you can see they're really pushing for it. They have another 10 games left in their regular season, and if they perform well over those last 10 games, you could definitely see them jump in the Mavericks, jump in the Suns. So fighting for play-in pretty much, and which is partly why I think the projections are very high in terms of minutes for all the Portland Trailblazers starters. So Denny projected to play a lot of minutes, and I love it. Up against the Cleveland Cavaliers today. The Cavs, one of the best teams this season, but lately they haven't been playing like it. The Cavs have secured the number one spot in the East. They've dropped a couple of games. They keep resting players. So I think this is the right time to catch them. And if we look at the head-to-head numbers here, Denny Avdija played the Cavs once this season. It was about 3 weeks ago. In that game, had 22 rebounds and assists. He actually had a 30-point triple-double in this game, but he had 12 rebounds. He had 10 assists. This game did go into overtime, so he played 5 minutes more than he normally would. But even in regular time, he still covered this rebounds and assist line quite easily. So I'm liking Denny Avdija there to cover the rebounds and assists. I did initially consider the PRA first. He did score 30 points against them last time. His line's at 19.5. But with scoring props, then you pretty much have to live with a bit of variance. I don't know if the Cavs do something differently in attempts to slow him down. I don't know what happens there. But I love the rebounds and assists. The points, rebounds, and assists looks good too. But for me, I'm just running with the rebounds and assists for Denny Avdija. Up against the Cavs, should you see a lot of minutes? It's a 6.5 point spread. Home game for Portland as well. Hopefully, Denny turns up. So pump with the brakes real quick to ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Leave me a comment down below. Let's help push this thing out. I normally would say whatever you want, but a lot of people have been saying whatever you want. And I feel like giving people the green light to say terrible things is not a great thing for the community. So my thought around this is if you don't have anything constructive, I'm down with constructive feedback and criticism. I'm all for that because if I can get better every single day, it's only going to benefit me and everybody else. But when you're blatantly going out there to lie or ruin somebody else's name, and then it starts arguments. We're seeing people fighting in the comment section. Like, I don't need none of that. I'm like almost 40 years old. I don't need that in my life. So I'm preaching positivity here. I'm down for constructive feedback. Just think before you word it so I can take that feedback on and try to implement that in the future. So thanks for everybody who's done this. Thanks for all the support that I've gotten. I've got a couple of leans to take you through, and these are picks that I've considered betting on. I'm just not 100% sure on it. But I'll take you through what I like about them, why I don't. And if you want to ride those bets, you can go for your life. Let's go. All right, so the first one we're looking at here is the Orlando Magic versus the Hornets. And the lean that I was very close to betting here was Paolo Banchero. And I wanted to take him over 6.5 points in the first quarter. He's over this line in 7 out of his last 8 games. My man's been killing it in the first quarter. He's been an absolute dog. And he's pretty much just found out how to shoot at a decent percentage. Like, his volume hasn't really changed. He's just shooting at a pretty good clip. Like, I looked at his last 10 games. And over his last 10 games, he shot 50% or better in 7 of those games. He's also making a lot of three-pointers, getting to the free throw line. Like, he's coming out to play. He's on a back-to-back, but that doesn't really worry me too much. Had a pretty easy win against the Lakers the other day. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Banchero. He'll take 5 shots in the first quarter. He had 7 points in the first quarter against the Hornets when they last played in February. But I think the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant around it is that first quarter props are volatile as anything. Like, you've got a very small window. It's a big sweat, but then I guess the pain or the pleasure is over just like that. Maybe I'm scared because I just got burnt by Kristaps Porzingis today. I don't know, but I like the play here for Banchero. I might make a decision on it in the morning. I still might play it. We'll see. But I think it's a pretty good look, but the risk is there. It's pretty volatile. It's a first quarter point prop. And the other one was for Shaden Sharp. I was looking at his points and rebounds today, and over 23.5 points and rebounds. He's projected to play 37 minutes, like a lot of the Portland Trailblazers starters outside of Klingon. They're expected to play big minutes today. And Shaden Sharp, he also benefits from not having Grant and Ayton out there. So projected to play 37. I looked at games where he plays at least 35 minutes. He's over this in 15 out of 19 games. Then we look at the games without Grant, without Ayton, and he's over this line in every single game as well, averaging 28.5 points and rebounds. So I was pretty much going to run 0.75 units on Sharp, 0.75 units on Denny Avdia, but I figured we're not asking for the exact same props here, and Shaden Sharp's got this done in the same matchups with Denny Avdia's got it done as well. So it makes a lot of sense. When he last played Cleveland, he finished on 24 points and rebounds exactly. That game went into overtime. He had 6 rebounds, 18 points. I think the opportunity and the upside here for Shaden Sharp is that he shot 7 for 20 in this game, 35%. And in all of these games in this sample size that I'm looking at, 35% is his worst field goal percentage here. So there's upside if he takes the same volume and shoots a better percentage for sure. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. It's probably not going to be a popular look, this one, because, yeah, you got to really know where the opportunities lie. But it's something I might run in the morning. I'll see what the market does to the line, if it sharpens up or not. But that's 2 leans. And then the last one, this is one that I've already bet, and I have full intentions to cash this out depending on what the lineups look like. But I wanted to share it with you all because I think there's a lot of value in this, and it's Brandon Podziemski, over 2.5 points in the first quarter. So if we just look at the games with Jimmy Butler, that's without. With Jimmy Butler, he's over this line in 11 out of 14 games, averaging 5 points in the first quarter. That's with Jimmy since the trade deadline. So if we look at the games with Jimmy, with Steph, he's over this line in 9 out of 12 games, averaging 4.8 points in the first quarter. The only reason I'm not betting this, Steph Curry is a game time decision at the moment. And I don't know. I question, could there be a late change? Does Podziemski stay in the starting lineup? But I've already put this in. I've already submitted this bet. But if there is a lineup change and suddenly Brandon Podziemski is not starting in this game, I do intend to cash this out. But if you're betting on a book that doesn't allow you to cash out, I would just say wait to see if once the lineups are confirmed, because I don't know if this number is going to move too much. It might move to 3.5, but you've seen it in the numbers here. Like, he's not finishing on 4 points. Like, he's finished on 4 points once. Outside of that, he's clearing 5. So even if this bumps up, if it bumps up to 3.5, it'll be at plus money. I think it's still a decent look, provided that Brandon Podziemski is starting. If he comes off the bench, he might only play 4 minutes. So that's all the picks and the analysis that I've got for you so far. There's a lot of game time decisions. If you're interested in checking out all my bets, I'll leave links for that down below in the video description below. There'll be discounts and stuff like that. You can get my straight picks for $1 a day if you want to. But I do wish you guys the best of luck. Let's green out on this wonderful day. Let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.